What's going on, you guys? Good afternoon. This is your boy B Mahari here, represent Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Much love to the entire LDBC and the basketball community. You understand what I'm saying? Don't miss basketball conversations right here on the channel every Friday night, 9 p.m. Central Time, where we discuss, basketball related news, historical content, or any debate that you guys want to talk about in the comment section. So make sure to tune in to that, though, guys. We're making big headways in our channel, though, too, man, and our subscriber count is slowly growing. So to continue to spread the word about the channel, man, and we'll continue to produce more content for you guys. So, with all the pleasantries out the way, this is actually going to be a bit of a debate video for a lot of you guys to really think about. Now, I know this topic here is going to range a lot of different opinions or different perspectives, though. But I like to keep you guys in the conversation. So the course of this video is about Bill Russell, and the question is, how would Bill Russell fare in other eras of NBA basketball? This has been a kind of a topic that there's been a bit of a hot topic for a lot of people, though. I know Ticket TV has had his perspective. He believes that Russell's an overrated player based on skill set, not on accomplishments. Now, I'm going to give my 2 cents on this particular subject in hand here. Okay, the bottom line is this: Bill Russell is the greatest winner in the history of NBA basketball. I will never, ever say otherwise. When you won 11 championships in your 13 years in the NBA, you deserve high recognition. Absolutely. All right. The guy was a most valuable player in 5 times. All right. 12-time All Star. All right. He made first team All NBA for 3 seasons in 1959, 1963, and 1965. All right. He was first team All NBA defense in 1969. He was a 4-time rebounding champion, and plus in college, he was a 2-time national champion in the University of San Francisco and was most outstanding player in 1955. So, in that sense, he was the greatest winner everywhere he went because despite the fact he was 6'10", he had a very large wingspan. Okay, his ability to not only just block shots but also collect rebounds and start the Celtic fake really was one of the main components of how the Celtics were able to dominate, during the 60s. Now, considering the fact that the Celtics did not win anything before, Russell came in, there's no doubt about it that how Bill Russell's impact to the team was greatly profound. All right. And this, I will never, ever dispute that at all. But the course of this video is about how he would fare in other eras of NBA basketball, where different type of big men were taller, could post better, and also have ranged from finesse players to great footwork players to power players. You know what I mean? Like the Shaquille O'Neals, the Patrick Ewings, the Keem Olajuwons, the David Robinsons, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars. You know what I mean? Those kind of players. Moses Malone there too as well. You know what I mean? And also his rival, Wilt Chamberlain, and things of that sort. Now, here's my 2 cents on the situation here. Okay, I believe that Bill Russell would have had a hard time playing in the eras during the 80s and during the 90s when centers could do a lot more different things than what Bill Russell was used to seeing, because other than Wilt Chamberlain, that used to own Bill Russell in terms of scoring wise, all right, Wilt Chamberlain had games where he would outscore Bill Russell and out rebounded him as well. You know what I mean? Every single Sunday, Wilt Chamberlain would have his way. But the key component is that Bill Russell was able to take away his key moves late in the game, so that in the way that his teams would not allow him to get him the basketball. All right. But the thing is that Bill Russell, would have not done very well against a power guy like Shaquille O'Neal, because Shaq was so good at running the fast break, getting the ball right in his sweet spot on the block there. And Bill Russell could not do anything about it because Shaquille O'Neal was 7 feet, and in his prime times, when he was in Los Angeles, he was basically ranging from around 315 with pure muscle. And Shaquille O'Neal, anytime he got the ball on the block, it was drop step, power dunk. All right. And when he was going for alley oop passes, it was so close to the rim that you couldn't do anything about it. You know what I mean? I think he would have had a hard time defending against Shaq because of his power, his ability to post, and his improved finesse game, which is, I think, one of the reasons why he would probably send Shaq to the foul line. But he knows how to get. But Shaq would have gotten you into foul trouble. Now against Kareem, he might have maybe a somewhat of a slim chance against Kareem, but Kareem mastered the sky hook. And because of his 7 foot frame and his ability to jump over the top of his defenders and shoot the sky hook, from different ranges on the block, Kareem would have had an easy time against Bill Russell. Now, there's no denying that Bill Russell would also find a way to deny him the ball and probably would do a good job of basically playing denial defense and then to probably do a good job of timing the block shots. But against Kareem, that hook shot was just too unstoppable because remember, Kareem also led the nation and also in scoring and block shots. All right, and the thing was that Kareem had also power to his game too in the earlier stages when he was playing in Milwaukee. So I think that Bill Russell would have had a slim chance, but I don't think he would have had no chance against Hakeem Olajuwon. No chance because Hakeem, had various moves in the post. All right, he could go to the face-up game where he could basically face you up and then use his crossover moves and his speed and agility to break you down and basically shoot over the top of you. All right. And also, Akeem was so good at the mid-range jumper there too. He would have let Bill Russell. He would have let Bill Russell to come out of the paint and defend him out there on the perimeter. Something that Shaquille O'Neal had to deal with in the '95 Finals. All right, and also Akeem was such a good passer in the post though too. He was able to find the double team where it was coming from and basically pass it out of there to get open threes off. That's how the Houston Rockets, basically played their game was based on their 3-point shooting and the dominance of Akeem in the post. All right. So we're not talking about accomplishments. We're not talking about championships and things of that sort because there's no argument with that. But I'm talking about in terms of purely skill set because Bill Russell, with due respect, only scored 14,000 points in his career, even though he was never a vocal point in the offense. Most of his scoring was basically off of rebounds and tip-ins. All right, and also he didn't have a good jump shot to work with either, because he was not known for his jump shooting. He was primarily known for his rebounding and his defense, something that the Celtics needed when they won the Windows championships. And plus, it does help a lot when you have like 6 to 7 to 8 Hall of Famers on one team, and then also coming in, replenishing the talent and playing with more Hall of Famers. Because we got to remember, he had Frank Ramsey, he had Bob Cousy, he had Tom Heinsohn. Okay, he also had the Jones brothers, Sam and Casey Jones. Okay, and then in the next stages of the dynasty, he had Tom Sanders, he had Don Nelson, he had John Havlicek. I mean, you think about it. He was playing with Hall of Famers on his teams, and he also had a Hall of Fame coach in Red Auerbach to basically lead the way. All right, so I don't deny what his impact to the game was. I will never ever do that. But I'm talking about in terms of skill set, and ability. Bill Russell would have a hard time facing against centers that could do more, and probably been a bit more of a tougher time in today's basketball, considering that centers now can just go out on the perimeter and shoot threes. But Bill Russell could do a good job of denying you the position on the block, but also timing you out in terms of figuring out what your weaknesses are. Because the one thing about Bill Russell was he was a very intelligent player. Okay, and so I think that Bill Russell would have had a harder time, against the dominant centers of the '90s, because you had Shaq, you had Robinson, you had Ewing, you had Mourning, you had Olajuwon. You understand what I'm saying? And then also the frontier centers like the Rick Smiths who could shoot the ball from the perimeter. You know what I mean? I mean, you also had Ronnie Cycli though too, even though Ronnie Cycli would have gotten destroyed by Russell. So, but I'm talking about in terms of shooting ability, just keeping it simple, shooting ability. But when you talk about like the all-star centers and the top centers, yeah, Bill Russell would have had a harder time against either one of them guys. I think he would have had great battles with them. I would think that he would have a fighting chance, but against the guys like Olajuwon and say O'Neal and also with Robinson, I think that Bill Russell would have had a tougher time against those guys because particularly, those guys could do various things that he had never seen against and during his era because with the exception of Wilt Chamberlain and Nate Thurman and Walt Bellamy, he rarely faced against guys that were basically 6'10" or 7 feet or taller. All right. Because he went up against guys that were basically 6'10" and below, and he could easily block their shots without even trying. You know what I mean? And I think that, in a sense, it's not an indictment against Russell because you can't turn back the clock and basically play in the eras that were Shaq and Olajuwon were playing at that time. It's just a comparison of how the eras were different and how basketball was basically different during that period of time. And it just shows how great, these great centers were during their periods of time. You know what I mean? I think that Bill Russell is not, he's not as, I would put it like this. Bill Russell, to me, is a bit overrated in terms of the skill set, in terms of offensive prowess, but not on the defensive side. He was primarily about defense, rebounding, and commanding the fast break. You know what I mean? Those intangible things that the Celtics needed because they already had enough guys that could score the ball there too. You know what I mean? But I think that, people having him high as like a top five greatest player of all time, he never even averaged more than 20 points per game throughout his entire career. So how can you make that argument that he's a top five great player? If Listen, you can't always go by accomplishments or by championships or achievements. Sometimes you have to look at what his game was and how much he brought into the table. All right. And so his career high point average was basically 18.9 points per game, and that was during the 61, 62 season. You understand what I'm saying? And so his career average in terms of points was only 15.1 points per game. And so I don't think you could put him as like a top five great player because there's already top other five players that are already better than Will Chamberlain. I have him at least maybe top 10 or maybe top 20 to be honest with you, because I'm not going to put him to below as 50 because that would be an insult. But putting him in the top five doesn't ring true. It just doesn't, because he's not a guy that could dominate you, offensively, and could dominate, and it's not a kind of guy that commands double teams a lot, because he was not primarily an offensive scorer. So we need to pump the brakes a bit about putting Bill Russell in the top five, because I just don't see him there. I don't see him, top five. He's not better than Kareem. He's not better than Shaq. He's not better than Elijah One. All right. He's not better than David Robinson. All right. And he's certainly not better than Jordan or Kobe. So those things into itself, I think that Bill Russell would have had a difficult time winning championships during those respective eras, because the different bigs could do different things, you know what I mean, and could counter to what Bill Russell can do. And I think Bill Russell would have had a tougher time winning those championships if he didn't have the right amount of talent around him. But that's just my opinion about this whole matter. I know there's going to be a lot of different people that are going to have various opinions about it and various perspectives, though. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. How do you think Bill Russell would have fared in other eras in NBA basketball, and what he would do well at, and what he would struggle against? But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Stay tuned for more videos down the line, though, guys. Peace.